Hi, my name is Drew, and I drive a freaking Sequoia. Man, I don't know why that video didn't go viral. That was a great song. Oh, hey there. I'm so glad you made it. I've been trying to reach you for weeks about your car's extended warranty, but you won't answer my phone calls. Hello people of the world watching car and camping content on the internet. My name is Drew and this is my 2004 Toyota Sequoia that I live in. In case you're wondering how I have everything set up, you can go ahead and take a look at my last video I posted where I gave you a pretty quick rundown on how the whole thing is organized. Spoiler alert, I'm actually in the process of reorganizing it, but we'll get into that in a later video. Today, I want to talk about the 5 things that I hate about my Sequoia and why I still think it is the perfect vehicle for a stealthy SUV car camping setup. Let's get into it. All right, we got coffee, we got water. My Renogy folding solar panels are out and pulling some solar to recharge my batteries. What's up guys, Editing Drew from the future here. Before we get into the video, I think it's important to talk a little bit first about why I think we even have the Toyota Sequoia in the first place. After all, it's only sold in the States, there is no Lexus equivalent, and Toyota was already making the 100 series Land Cruiser at the time. And I think it boils down to just plain old marketing and advertising. You see competitors like the Chevrolet Tahoe and the Ford Expedition, and they sold really well to the suburban family hauling car buyer, but for whatever reason the Land Cruiser wasn't seen as a direct competitor to that. So Toyota went back to the drawing board and said, let's make an Americanified 3-row body-on-frame SUV to serve that market. With Toyota being such a legacy brand nowadays, it's easy to forget that Toyota was a newcomer to the full-size SUV market, and that's where we get the bold styling of the Sequoia. You've got these fun front headlight design, you've got these big wheel well fenders, and you've got floating roof design, the ribbed taillights, and my version doesn't have it, but you do also have models that have a nice rear spoiler on the top. It was fun, it was sporty, it was curvy, and more importantly, it was different than its American competitors. And so that's why we get the Toyota Sequoia here in the States. Take the Land Cruiser formula, stretch it out a little bit longer, make it a little bit wider, and add a bunch more cup holders in the back seats, and you get an Americanified Land Cruiser, the Toyota Sequoia. Oh my God, the Land Cruiser people are gonna hate me in the comments for saying that. Unless you have an 80 series JDM right-hand drive turbo diesel Land Cruiser, I don't wanna hear it. You basically just have an overpriced Toyota Sequoia. And while we're on the topic of the Land Cruiser, if you bought a 250 series Land Cruiser, I hope you know you just paid way too much for a 6th Gen 4Runner. That's all you did. And if you bought a 6th Gen 4Runner, you just paid way too much for a 4x4 SUV in general. It blows my mind. Listen to the video, listen to the 5 reasons why I hate my Sequoia, realize that they're not that bad, go buy yourself a 1st Gen Sequoia and thank me later. Okay, rant over, let's get back into the video. Now this is in no particular order, but the first thing that I want to talk about is the transmission. Now it's a 4-speed transmission with overdrive, which is acceptable for the 2000s, but Toyota recognized that this needed an update. So in the year 2005, with the model refresh, we also get the same 5-speed transmission that was in the 100 series Land Cruiser. But before then, you get a 4-speed with overdrive, and it is the most annoying thing, especially when you're in cruise control, you're going up a hill. This thing likes to downshift like crazy. It loves to be in the 3,000 to 4,000 RPM range where it really gets that peak power band, and it is annoying. And all of a sudden, you're just like clugging along, and then all of a sudden as much as you can in an old SUV, you feel the power just shift back in your seat, and it is abrupt. Now this V8 engine, even the pre-tuned model, still have adequate power, even with these big BV tires, to get me up any hill that I need to, but that 4-speed transmission really does struggle to find its footing and its power band sometimes. Number 2, if you're someone forgetful like me, you've definitely driven off before from a parking spot with your parking brake on. And unfortunately, in this 1st generation Sequoia, I can't speak to the facelifted models, I don't know, but the pre-facelift models do not have a parking brake alarm. There is a light that illuminates on your dashboard, and that is it. And that has led to several parking brake issues. In fact, if you watch one of my shorts from a couple months ago, you'll see that I had to repair the entire parking brake assembly because of how many times I have driven off with the parking brake still engaged, and there is no alarms whatsoever. It is just a light. I mean, of course I do look at my dash when I'm driving, but I'm focused on the road. Number 3 is the trunk design. Now, unlike its Land Cruiser sibling, the Sequoia does not get a true drop-down tailgate in the rear. It is instead opted for an actual trunk hatch. The whole door opens up. But what that also means is that there are rubber seals on the rear window, and those rubber seals over time do degrade. Now, unfortunately, the trunk latch assembly is simply a steel cable, and steel loves to rust. So when water gets into this dried out rubber seal of this 21-year-old vehicle, it's going to rust the steel cable. Mark my words, if you own or buy a first generation Sequoia, the rear trunk latch will eventually fail, and you will be stuck with a trunk that will not open until you fix it. Now, fortunately, there's tons of information online. There's different aftermarket options for more durable cables and latches, and there's lots of content on how to repair that. In fact, I just did mine a couple weeks ago, and it only took maybe an hour or so with the help of a friend. Number 4, I don't understand what they were thinking. Someone please tell me what they were thinking. Someone please tell me if there's actually a reason for this. But for whatever reason, if your check engine light is on an early 2000s Sequoia, or any Toyota for that matter, the traction control automatically disables. And that's regardless of what the check engine diagnosis is. It could be just a blown fuse, or in my case, it could be a bad catalytic converter. But because I have a bad catalytic converter, now I just also don't have traction control, which can be kind of scary sometimes, especially when I'm driving off-road with open differentials. If anyone understands why Toyota made this decision to just disable traction control whenever the check engine light comes on, please let me know. I hope that they don't still do this, because this feels like a real safety issue. Now, I understand that it is my fault for driving with a check engine light on, but catalytic converters are expensive, and I'm saving up for one right now. I'm preparing for the repair. Luckily, it's a bolt-on catalytic converter, so I can do the repair myself as long as I buy the part. But I just want to understand, Toyota, why did you do this? Number 5, last but not least, I don't want to talk about it, but we got to talk about it, gas mileage. Now, the Sequoia was never going to win any awards for fuel efficiency, but it did get about 15 to 17 miles to the gallon. And in fact, up until me getting my lift and bigger tires and adding all this weight from living in it, that was pretty true. Now with this lift, with these big all-terrain tires, and with all the extra weight that I have in the back of my Sequoia, and with driving up and down these mountain roads, I am getting an average of about 12.8 miles to the gallon. Definitely not something to be proud of. Now, of course, gas mileage varies based on altitude, based on weight in your car, based on the tires that you have, based on everything that you're doing, driving characteristics, and probably the bad catalytic converter that I have ain't helping very much either. But 17 miles to the gallon also isn't that great, right? So if you're considering a vehicle and you want something for your off-road adventures, car camping, or maybe you're considering living out of a vehicle like me, just know that when you start adding weight to a vehicle, you're going to decrease the mileage. And so if you buy a car that already has not the best gas mileage, it's only going to get much, much worse. All right, number 6, we got a bonus one because I just accidentally did it and I remembered that it was a thing, and it drives me insane. So someone please, again, tell me what was going through Toyota's minds when they did this. This is the key fob, and if you've owned an early 2000s Toyota, this looks very familiar to you. And if one of the doors is open and you hit the lock button, like most vehicles, even of this age, the car will let you know some way, somehow, that it is not actually locked and your Toyota is not actually secure from thieves and robbers. But Toyota did something interesting, and I'll show you. Do you hear that? It's gonna keep going. It won't stop until I hit the unlock button. Now, most cars, even of this time, will just not beep, or will give you a different beep, a different chirp to let you know, hey, you press the button, I recognize that, the car's still not locked, you should do something about it. But for whatever reason, Toyota decided, no, this is just going to be an eternal beep that will not stop until the end of time. I truly don't know if this beep has an end, because it is so annoying when I hear it that I instantly press the unlock button before I diagnose which door is still unlocked. If anyone knows if this actually ever stops, please let me know. I'm really curious. I don't think it does. I think it just keeps going and will keep going until the battery in the car dies, or until you fix the problem, one or the other. Notable mention too, if you press the lock button, you get the eternal ding that lasts forever, and you correct the problem. Let's say I close that trunk hatch. It will not lock. It will only stop the beeping. You then have to press the lock button again. Why Toyota does this, I don't freaking know. And there you have it. That wraps up the 6 things that I absolutely hate about my 2004 Toyota Sequoia, my home on wheels. Now, with all that said, these are some pretty minor issues. I've been living out of this thing for about 7 months, and it has been nothing but good to me. This Sequoia has 207,000 miles on it and has been relatively problem-free my entire time on the road. Hey guys, this is Editing Drew from the future again. I feel like after making such a bold and vague statement like things have been relatively problem-free my entire time on the road, I owe you a little bit more explanation and detail than that. Now, there have been 2 major issues on the road, and I think they were mostly out of my control. Number 1, I had a seized brake caliper. Now, the front brake calipers were completely original to the vehicle. The rear ones had already been replaced, ordered some parts, and got it fixed at a friend's house in Utah. Number 2, I was driving down a washboard road and I kicked up a couple rocks that got stuck in my radiator fan shroud and basically played ping pong all around my radiator fan. Now, fortunately, they didn't actually puncture my radiator. They only broke the fan, but I did have to repair a radiator fan in the middle of a post office parking lot in California, and that wasn't very fun. If you want me to make a video going a little bit more into detail about all of the things that I've had to repair and replace on my vehicle, or if you want me to talk a little bit about the modifications that I've made to it, let me know, and I'm happy to make that video for you as well. Okay, we're wrapping things up, so back to the regular video. Thanks. So, would you buy a Toyota Sequoia, and more importantly, would you live out of it? Let me know in the comments section down below. As always, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.